Arcade Paradise is a throwback arcade adventure set in the 1990s. Instead of laundering rags for a livelihood, you decide to transform the family laundromat into the ultimate arcade. Play, profit, and buy more arcade machines from a selection of over 35 to create your own arcade paradise. Take the laundry company made up of mundane activities from washing clothing to tossing out the trash, and convert it into a flourishing arcade with the trendiest games in town raking in all the money. Over 35 completely detailed arcade games, each with its own gameplay, narrative, missions, and top scores to establish. Inspired by 3 decades of gaming, ranging from early vector games through the 32-bit period. Developer: Nosebleed Interactive. Platforms: PlayStation 5, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, Xbox One. Genre: independent video game, adventure. Publisher: Wired Productions. Initial release date: August 11, 2022.
Life can be harsh everywhere, but in the old world, there was no hope of it ever improving. When our crops failed, the ruling class would still collect the same share, leaving our children to starve. And if we had any coin to our name, the taxman would appear, demanding it for the crown.
Farthest Frontier. The title alone tells us where this game will go, and the author's judgment was correct. Farthest Frontier will lead us on an adventurous and thrilling journey of constructing a civilization at the end of the planet. Here, we may perform a variety of things to protect ourselves from nature's wrath. Farming, fishing, cultivating crops, hunting, processing food, extracting raw materials, and manufacturing craft items are a succession of actions that may be carried out in depth in this game. Not only that, but you must also be prepared if horrible things happen unexpectedly, such as threats from outside your community, both natural fury and assaults from other tribes. If you don't want to cope with these unpleasant attacks, the creator also includes a passive mode. To live in this phase, you will only perform minimal activities. Everything can be a lot of fun. This game may be described as neither too challenging nor too easy. Initial release date: August 9, 2022. Developer: Crate Entertainment. Platforms: Microsoft Windows. Publisher: Crate Entertainment. Genre: strategy video game, simulation video game, independent video game, strategy, early access.
Master of Magic is a remaster of the 1994 classic, which IGN described as the best fantasy strategy game ever made. It is a game which made a historical contribution to the 4X genre, and now Slytherin brings it to the modern era.
Master of Magic is a recreation of a 1990s classic that combines RPG with tactical gameplay. In Master of Magic, you play as one of 14 distinct and distinctive great wizards vying for supremacy in the realms of Arcanus and Mirror. Choose from a variety of magical schools and fantastical races to govern over. Then command your minions and grow your influence and power across the realm. Recruit and lead armies of elves, dragons, dwarves, orcs, and other creatures. Support them with strong spells. Fight tactical turn-based battles and use your magic to affect the result. Investigate new spells, participate in alchemy, execute rituals, and utilize your enigmatic power to alter the world around you. Keep an eye out for the opposing magicians' intrigues, who are attempting to attain the same aims as you. But remember, there can only be one Master of Magic. Genre: 4X, entertainment, fantasy, turn-based strategy, narrative, speculative fiction, societal mode. Single-player video game. Designer: Steve Barchett. Developers: Microprose, Simtex. Platforms: Microsoft Windows, MS-DOS, Linux, PlayStation, PC 9800 series. Publishers: Microprose, Atari, Locus Computing Corporation. Lavapodian's Songs of Conquest is a turn-based strategy game released by Coffee Stain Publishing. The game, which was inspired by 90s classics like Heroes of Might and Magic 3, was launched in early access on May 10, 2022 for Microsoft Windows and macOS. It enables players to select from 4 distinct factions, grow their kingdoms, and engage in war by commanding strong wizards known as wielders. The game is a combination of turn-based strategy and adventure. Kingdom administration, such as hiring wielders and armies, creating and developing structures, and turn-based military battles, are all part of the game's strategy. The distinctive fantasy scenario and tale, portrayed through a blend of 2D pixel graphic style, 3D settings, and volumetric lighting, assist the adventure portion. Developer, Lavapodian. Mode, multiplayer video game. Initial release date, May 10, 2022. Platforms, Microsoft Windows, macOS, Macintosh operating systems. Publisher, Coffee Stain Publishing. Genre, turn-based strategy, computer role-playing game, adventure game, early access. The Oregon Trail is an instructional computer game series. Don Roich, Bill Heinemann, and Paul Dillenberger created the initial game in 1971, and the Minnesota Educational Computing Consortium MECC released it in 1974. The original game was created to teach 8th grade students about the reality of pioneer life on the Oregon Trail in the 19th century. Gameloft's The Oregon Trail. Discover the Oregon Trail like never before. This legitimate sequel to the worldwide hit will immerse players in exciting trips ranging from historically correct to completely extreme, with a modern touch on the difficulties and tribulations of the route to Oregon. Players will choose their traveling company, equip the wagon with provisions, and set out on an adventure full of difficult decisions, new threats, and unexpected circumstances. Surviving blizzards, broken limbs, snake bites, tiredness, malnutrition, and the dreaded dysentery while crossing an untamed frontier to get your group to their new life in Oregon before the winter is no easy task. Track down a missing group after a violent blizzard, transport dangerous gunpowder through scorching desert heat, engage in hard-hunting mini-games, and encounter a diverse cast of historical personalities. Developers, Gameloft MECC, The Learning Company, Berterbund, The Adventure Company, Gameloft Tessie. Publisher, Gameloft MECC, The Learning Company, SoftK. RC Hikita Patala created the first-person shooter platformer video game Ultra Kill, which was released by New Blood Interactive on September 3, 2020. It went into early access on Steam for Microsoft Windows. The game employs retro-style visuals and movement capabilities comparable to those of 1990s first-person shooters such as Quake and Doom. In Ultra Kill, the player controls Vault 1, a machine that runs on blood. Humanity fought a tremendous battle, and Vault 1 was designed specifically for this reason. However, the war ended before Vault 1 could go into widespread production. Therefore, just one model survived. However, V's appetite for blood drove it and other Lycrobots to turn against humans, pushing them to extinction. Vault 1 journeys through the levels of hell after the destruction of mankind in order to gather the blood of the numerous animals in hell. Vault 1 encounters demons, the spirits of the damned, competing robots hungry for blood, and angels along the road. Developer, RC Patala. Publisher, New Blood Interactive. Platforms, Linux, Microsoft Windows. Mode, single-player video game. Genre, first-person shooter. Independent video game. Platform game. Initial release date, September 3, 2020. Cultic. Prepare to battle your way through the ranks of an evil cult. You'll find just as much lead flying back as you dish out. thanks to their twisted brains twisted by the will of an unseen entity. So you'll have to run, slide, duck, and make use of your environment to live in this old-school-inspired shooter. Cultic allows you to approach fight in your own unique way. To avoid danger, you can sprint with your weapons blazing, jumping, sliding, and dodging. If you prefer a leisurely strategy, you may set traps, wait for your foes to approach, and then pick them off from cover. Perhaps you like to move in between your opponents, directing their strikes towards one another and turning them against one another. You'll be well equipped to slay anything in your way with a full arsenal of mid-century weaponry and explosives, assuming you don't get slaughtered first. Publisher: Three Realms. Genre: shooting game, independent video game, horror game. Developer: Yasotes Games. Platforms: PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, Microsoft Windows, Xbox Series 10 and Series S. Initial release date: August 13, 2021. Chop Goblins is a micro-shooter, a first-person shooter meant to be finished in a single sitting without losing depth, diversity, or inventiveness in gameplay and level design. It's a game that you may play in about an hour or replay for hours. Do you need something to take your mind off work, boredom, or grinding in other games? Take a break from Chop Goblins with a fun and enjoyable FPS adventure that can be completed in a single sitting. Genre: independent video game, shooting game. Developer: David Shemansky. Platforms: Microsoft Windows. Publisher: David Shemansky. Initial release date: January 2nd, 2023.